I say hello and welcome to our executive producer, Mr. Stu Bergier. We were both up late last night. You were up later than I was.
Yeah, it was a lot to talk about last night. We had BlazeTV coverage. It was, a crazy night and a bizarre moment in our history.
Yeah.
But Kamala Harris had her big
is.
speech. Yeah, and the big.
Yeah, she did.
She did a lot to get that nomination, Glenn. She kind of stood back and watched it all happen.
Yeah, she did. She worked hard for it. Not a single vote, but she worked hard for it. I have to tell you, it was, I just watched it. My head just about exploded. I had vivid dreams last night, 4 hours of fitful sleep, and I'm ready. Let's go. The new normal is here. Let's do it. So she accepted the nomination last night, and it was a beautiful moment. Cut 29, please.
And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf
that didn't vote for it,
of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another, on behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth.
Oh, so passionate. Surely she believes that.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
It's a loud crowd. I mean, you got to give it to him. It was quite the show.
No, it was quite the show. She did a very good job. It was a nice performance. None of it was real. None of it was really accurate. I mean, I couldn't take when she said, the greatest country in the world. Excuse me? Excuse me? How could you possibly say that after the years of things that you've said, which were exactly the opposite?
Yeah.
There were times that I thought it could have been delivered by Ronald Reagan. The policies that when she was, not even policies, the outline of, we're low taxes, we're for the family, we're for all of. Could have been Ronald Reagan.
We love our troops. We're pro-military. We're pro-police.
Oh my gosh!
Who are these people?
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So, just a reminder before we go in, cut 31, please. Let me just give you a little flashback. Here's Kamala telling you the truth.
And yeah, I am radical. I do believe that we need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously.
Right. Okay. All right. So she is radical. Now, let me give you some of the things that she's radical on. First, let's see here. How about this one? Cut 18.
Opportunity is not available to everyone. That's why we will create what I call an opportunity economy, where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed. Whether you live in a rural area, small town, or big city. And as president, I will bring together labor and workers and small business owners and entrepreneurs and American companies to create jobs, to grow our economy, and to lower the cost of everyday needs like health care and housing and groceries. We will provide access to capital for small business owners and entrepreneurs and founders. And we will end America's housing shortage.
Yeah. She's going to end America's housing shortage. And one of the ways she's going to do that is to have the right to housing and health care. Now, that was exciting because I heard that the day before from our vice president, as I pointed out to you yesterday. That was the exact language that is in the Soviet Constitution. You have a right to housing and health care. And we all know how good that health care and housing really was in the Soviet Union. When she talks about providing housing, that is not a right. That is an American dream, not a right. But they're changing that. When she talks about, I'm going to lower the cost of everyday items, she's not talking about by increasing growth. She's talking about price controls, something else that comes from communist nations. It is extraordinarily dangerous. The lies that were told yesterday, but I'll get into those here in just a second. Here she is. Now, see if this doesn't sound like Lindsey Graham, cut 22.
As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world.
Neocon.
And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage.
Stop. Stu. Whose administration said if you don't put this untested, unknown experimental drug in your body, you had to be removed from the military? Who was that? Which administration? I'm trying to remember.
There was a president, I think his name was Biden.
Yeah.
But I mean,
who's his vice president?
That's, history has lost that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a fact that no one knows these days.
Yeah, no one knows anymore. That is just weird. Don't talk to me about respecting our military when your administration won't even admit that anyone died in Afghanistan. Don't talk to me about being strong and a leader of NATO and you would never leave your allies behind when you didn't even tell England we were leaving, just leaving Afghanistan, leaving them in the lurch. Oh, it's so maddening. All right, go ahead, finish.
And their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice.
This is a Democrat? No, this is a show for the Reagan Democrats.
That we lead the world into the future on space and artificial intelligence, that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century, and that we strengthen, not abdicate, our global leadership. Trump, on the other... Stop. That we don't advocate or abdicate our global position as a leader. That's America first, okay? That's America first. What are you talking about? We're just another country just like every other country, and we are just, maybe it's time for the hegemony to end. The Americans have been trying to lead the world for the rest. Who are we to do that? Oh my gosh, I can't put into words how stupid you have to be to buy any of this. This was an absolute show last night. They are hoping that in the next 12 weeks, nobody gets a chance to ask her a question, that she is on teleprompter the entire time. Remember, 6 weeks ago, even the press thought she was an idiot. Even the press thought that she was horrible to her staff and a horrible person. Now she's Mother Teresa, except Mother Teresa with nuclear armaments that she's going to be strong. Now listen some more. Trump, on the other hand, threatened to abandon NATO. He encouraged Putin to invade our allies, said Russia could, quote, do whatever the hell they want. 5 days before Russia attacked Ukraine, I met with President Zelensky to warn him about Russia's plan to invade. I helped mobilize a global response over 50
Stop. Okay. All right. You got to go back a little bit because I want to make sure you mobilize. I mobilize that is the next sentence I want to take apart. So 5 days before, she went and met personally with Vladimir Zelensky to warn him of Russia's plans. Everyone knew of Russia's plans. Everyone knew. This was not a hard thing to figure out when your administration was saying, oh, you know what? We're going to let him into NATO. We're going to let him into NATO. We're going to let him into NATO. And Russia saying, the only thing we want is you not to let them into NATO. We're going to let him into NATO. It didn't take a genius to figure out what they were going to do. Now listen to the rest of it.
5 days before Russia attacked Ukraine, I met with President Zelensky to warn him about Russia's plan to invade. I helped mobilize a global response over 50 countries to defend against Putin's aggression.
Stop. Now, Stu, what was different about this coalition that we had never, ever seen before? Do you remember?
What was different about the coalition?
That we had never seen before.
Yeah, you're going to have to remind me on that one.
Okay. Do you remember McDonald's?
Yes, all the big companies.
It was, yes.
Universal.
It was a coalition of countries, and countries, when she put that coalition together, that's when gas prices went through the roof. Okay? Between them shutting off all of our pipelines and then saying we can't buy any Russian oil, which never worked because we're going to collapse their economy. Oh, good. Yeah, maybe somebody should try that. Oh, they're doing it themselves with our economy. What was different about this coalition is when it came together, it involved the largest corporations in the world. And McDonald's walked away from every asset they had in Russia. They said at first they can't be a part of the blockade. They can't. They have too much money, too many resources there, and they've worked too hard to grow McDonald's in Russia. And then 2 days later, after the big banks and the Harris administration came in and put the screws to them, they were like, you know what? We're just going to walk away from all of those. We're just going to walk away. I'd love to know, Kamala, what those negotiations were like. What did you promise McDonald's? How did you get everyone on board? How? Through threats, intimidation, ESG, and the World Economic Forum. That was the first time we saw what a global government could possibly do. But I digress. Last part.
Defend against Putin's aggression. And as president, I will stand strong with Ukraine and our NATO allies.
Listen to that crowd. I will stand strong with Ukraine. Ukraine's not a popular thing, but they cheered. I'm reminded by the Star Wars line, and this is the way democracy ends.